What's up, guys? So I know I have a couple videos out here now about Calidia sciences, biosciences, and I was misinterpreting on what exactly it does, and it's actually something to do with something a little bit different, more like curing cancer and stuff like that. So I was thinking that that was the cure for blindness stock, but as I continue to do more research, EDITAS medicine is actually the cure for blindness, and I have proof of that, and I will show you a little bit later. So now that I figured this out, I still like the Calidia biosciences, and I'm still going to make my play on it. I think it's going to blow up. But this one here, we're looking at monstrous gains coming in right now. So if we take a look at what it's been doing, it has this monster pattern that it attempted to break out of. It's been coming up many, many times. Now, we did get bearish divergence on the weekly, and that caused it to dump a little bit. But it's really not that bad of a dump. And what is going on is it broke out of this pattern, and it didn't have much of a breakout. We did get some good volume coming in, but now that it's dumped a little bit, we're actually consolidating perfectly on this giant pattern. We're getting support right now a little bit below and exactly on it. So now there are some warning signs telling me that it could potentially come back to this bottom of this triangle, the smaller triangle that we're in. But at the same time, I can see us potentially holding support where we are as well. So if you were going to get into this, you could start buying a little bit around this $29, $23 level. Or you could wait for a confirmed breakout of this next pattern here. So if you take a look at what the bottom of this little consolidation pattern we're in that we continuously wick up, it's $26.93 is the bottom of it. Now, we're not going to break out of this thing for at least another month. I'm looking at closer to December 4th, somewhere in the beginning of December. But we are seeing some signs of it trying to move up to test in the top of it again, and we're also seeing signs on why it could go to the bottom. So if we're on the 4-hour time frame here, I'm trying to piece this thing out because I want to look for a good, solid, strong buy order. My emotions are running right now. I don't like to buy on emotions, so that's why I'm not going to try to buy this thing right at $30 when it opens up on Monday. I want to watch and see what's going to happen. So we are below the 20 EMA, which is the yellow line. It's hard to see. But as you see on the 4-hourly, we are getting a green buy signal. So this is going to push us up to the top of this triangle, most likely to try to break it. Now, this is the sign right here that's showing me that this could be the time to buy. But like I said, I have a couple warning signs on why not to buy. So we're going to have to watch how it plays out on Monday. So the top of this triangle is at 32.59, which I'll show you in a little bit actually lines up perfectly with the 0.382 fib. So if we can come up, break out of that, potentially come back and test it with massive volume supported, that would be a potential buy as well. But seeing what this thing's all about, if people catch wind of this thing and it takes off, it might not turn back around, and we might not have that opportunity for it to retest that for support. And if it does, it might be very, very quick. So we have to keep our eyes out on this. Now on the daily, I can see that the 20 daily moving average is actually rolling over for a little death cross. And if we do get this death cross here, this could be what will push us down to this $26.92 to $27 level. 28.50 is around where we are right now, which on the 4-hourly shows that it's sitting on the actual pattern, but on the daily, we're not actually sitting on this pattern here. The pattern is at that 26.92, and we've been bouncing off of this within this pattern. So I'm trying to make some buys around the $27 level. Even if I can get $27.50, anywhere below $28, I am going to be a buyer. And I'm going to constantly buy this thing as it bounces in here. Anytime I see it below 28, I'm going to buy a few shares. I might even go all in on this $27 level, depending. I just want to keep an eye on this daily. We could just bounce in here up and down, though, and consolidate until we finally break out. So if we look at the smaller time frames just to see what's going on, we did get a bounce recently. And we actually didn't even come down and test that area. We seemed like we came down to a 27.90 area. So, sometimes waiting for that $27 level might be tough as well. So you might want to get a little nibble on it. But it's hard to see with all this TD9 shit I have on here. I'll try to clean up in a little bit. But let's see what the breakout of this pattern, this smaller pattern, would bring us up to. So if we take a breakout, say we're going to break out on Monday just for the hell of it, even though it'd be a little soon in the pattern, but, if this thing's coiling up, it could happen at any given time, to be honest. So that brings us to about $40.86. Now, the fact that we're consolidating on top of this pattern is a huge, huge confirmation right here that this is awesome. It's turning this into support. That is, one of the best things that you could see in TA when it's breaking out of a massive pattern like that. If we look on the weekly, you can see it's looking like a giant W here, but we have had resistance prior up in these levels up here. We've gotten rejected, came back up, tested it. Now we broke out. Looks like we got rejected, which could be somewhat of a fake out, but we're actually consolidating here, which we've never done yet. This is the first time doing it in the 4 or 5 times we've tried to test this thing. So it's I can see where the pattern could break out potentially, but this could also happen at any time, just seeing how insanely bullish this is. People are afraid right now. You can see all the selling pressure that we're getting. But, from what I'm seeing, this thing is going to consolidate here for, maybe a month, but, now's the time to start buying either way. I just like to position myself a little bit as low as the price I can get, I'm just lucky I just noticed this thing and did some research and found out about it before anything crazy happened. But let's just take a fib retracement from the swing low to the swing high on the 4-hourly and see if we're getting support anywhere or resistance anywhere. And as you see, at the 30.03 on the 0.382, $30.03, that's our resistance right now. Now, we have been coming up on there, getting a little bit of support, breaking down under, coming down to the 0.5, which is the 26.93 level. So that's where I'm trying to be a buyer, somewhere in between. This is called, I don't know if this is considered the golden pocket area, but I believe it's a golden pocket area between the 0.382 and the 0.5. If it's not, I don't know if that's 100%. I don't know if that's down at the between the 0.618 and the 0.786. That might be the golden pocket. But needless to say, we're just bouncing in between the 0.382 and the 0.5 fib right now. So now that we took a look at that, let's draw a trend line just for a reminder when I'm looking back at this later when we do explode out of here. I'm going to draw a line up here at the resistance line where we've gotten rejected in the past as well. So if we come up to this $44 level, that's a potential resistance zone there that we're probably going to come up to and consolidate, hopefully, on top of. Now, if we change these fib lines here and go from the whole weekly setup here and see what's going on, going off of the weekly fib retracement, the 0.382 is at 32.69. So between the 30 and the 32.53, that's going to be our resistance zone for sure. And our support looks to be on the weekly 28.67 and 24.82 would be the 0.618. I don't think we're going to come down to the 24.82. If we do, it'll be a fake wick down to scare people out, and then it'll shoot up. And I'll be a buyer there if we can even get that. So, looking at where I'm getting this information from, this is a company that was also working on trying to, with the coronavirus stuff, they were trying to figure out a way to find a vaccine for that. But on top of that, they're doing some research on retinal disease. So you can always look at this yourself as well. But it has to do with the whole CRISPR technology, gene therapy. Now, there's a lot of information on here, but CRISPR is another great company. But I'm trying to get in on this one because this is huge, if you ask me. Finding a cure for blindness is crazy. They've been doing some testing on animals and stuff, and it's not FDA approved, so we have to wait for that. But once it is, that's when the news is going to come out and blow this thing off. So anyway, so as you see, we have that news there, and this is kind of under the radar right now, and this thing is slowly moving up. It's being very slow, but we are coming up to this 20 weekly EMA, which is at the 3185 level. So I mean, everything is just showing this crazy resistance that's between 28.50 and 31. So even if we don't come down to this $27, I mean, those two support levels are pretty huge that it's bouncing between right now. So we might be lucky if we can get any type of buys in this 26.90 level. So you'd have to really be watching this thing potentially to get that, because if it does come down, it might just be a quick dip. So I'm going to put some buys in that 26.90 for myself. But, anything, like I said, on this support line is massive, which is 28.50 level. So we're just going to have to watch it. And, I know it was hard to read through that article, but you can always look it up on your own time and figure it out. But with what I'm seeing here, some buys, some green TD9 buy flash coming in, and a few other things. The only thing that's concerning me is the little bit of a death cross on the daily, which, like I said, that could push us down to buy where we want to. I don't think it's going to drop very far if it does, and it might just be a fake drop if it even does drop. And then we're going to look for this 44 area to break through as well, which might take another little bit of time before it does. It might consolidate there unless some kind of news comes out. But needless to say, starting to load up bags on this thing, even for a long-term hold, is going to be huge. Who knows what could happen in the next couple weeks if we could get some news or something that comes out. So keep an eye on this thing on Monday and add it to your watch list. Maybe even make a couple purchases and then see where it goes. But, this isn't financial advice, but I'm just trying to let you guys in on something that I'm seeing as well. So that's about it. Take care.